Welcome to Snowflake's Data Superhero's Origins. I'm your host, Kent Graziano, and this is my Data Dojo. On this episode of Data Superhero's Origins, I have Snowflake superhero Sonny Rivera. Welcome to the Data Dojo, Sonny.
Thank you, Kent. Glad to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here on my show. So let's get going. You've been pretty active in the community with presenting at our Group Buy event and at the Data Cloud Summit, but some of our viewers may not know you as well. Could you tell us a bit about yourself, Sonny, where you're located, who you work for, what your current role is, things like that?
Yeah, so I'm Sonny Rivera, and I work for Ally Financial. I've been doing software development, for a very long time, right? Since like 1990, I think. So however long that is, right? I lose track of the years. And I started with everything from guidance systems for TV guided devices way back in the day to building my own company, and then working for companies like the Hartford or AAA, and I'm with Ally Financial now. So I'm really excited to be here.
Wow. So along your career, can you tell us a little bit about when you developed this passion for data that you obviously have?
There's probably two parts that spread out over a decade, really. So in the mid 90s, I had started my own company, or joined in with a group, and we started our own company to build a data modeling and a process modeling product. And that product, from my perspective, I was around building a product for data engineers and process engineers to forward engineer and reverse engineer code. And so that was really kind of neat in my exposure to the data world, but I didn't heavily utilize data then. And then in about, I'd say 2007, I came to work for a company here in Charlotte called Randall Riley, and just using data to see real impacts in the marketplace, that was a game changer. They brought me in to help them with really move their desktop application to the cloud. And it was essentially a data warehouse in the cloud, and us to put a UI on top of it. And I was really focused on the application. Once we started using that data and seeing the power of that data, that's where the passion for me grew out of it. We would take, back in the day, just knowing that, hey, Kent was bought 3 John Deere tractors 3 years ago would be, oh, I need to go and try to sell him more information. Just knowing that. We even just printed off pieces of paper or loaded it onto CDs and sent it to customers. But it was so valuable to them because they knew, hey, here are the people that buy my equipment or my competitor's equipment, and this is where he lives, and here's his buying history. But when we could turn that into interactive data, and we could turn it into, hey, link that with web behavior data, suddenly to see that, hey, Kent buys tractors every 3 years for the last 20 years. And oh, by the way, he's been looking for a pre-approval for loans, or he's been on these sites looking for tractors. Now we know he's in the market, and we know his history. We know what he likes, what to do. We know his price range. The real power of that data, that's where it really grew out of.
Wow. Yeah. So what does the day in life of a Snowflake Data Superhero look like?
Well, let me see. Well, at my day job, it's the same thing, right? Right. Although I do have to say at Ally, they've kind of asked me to help them in this role with making sure across the enterprise, everyone understands the value that we can get out of data, but not just Snowflake, but out of having a single pool of data that we can utilize across the enterprise. So that's part of my charter today. So at work, it's not very different, right? But outside of work in the, in the community, it's very different. I spend time talking to the other community leaders, whether they're, from Tableau or Sigma or somebody like that, or Talent, so we can figure out how we can work together to do some of our user group uh, activities, that sort of thing. So that piece is very different. And it's really dynamic. We have a really great community out there of people across different platforms, and they're so excited to help or to get involved. So that's what's been surprising to me, right? People are calling me saying, "How do I get involved? What can I do? How can I help you?" So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, so like all true superheroes, it's not really a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we do this a little after. Well, there's, like you said, kind of my work is mild mannered Sonny Rivera, right? And then the superhero stuff happens after that.
That's afterward. So, what motivated you to become a Snowflake data superhero?
I don't know that, I wasn't a goal that I set out for. I think it arose out of the needs that we had in our local community, where people began to, um, a few of us got together and talked, and pretty soon I'm also involved with another really great organization called SIM Charlotte, the Society for Information Management. And this is a group of, technology leaders throughout Charlotte, right? And all the major companies here, whether it's Duke or Wells Fargo or whoever else, large companies, mid-sized companies, we just get together, talk about technology. We raise funds for STEM education and that sort of thing. And pretty soon within that group, people were saying, "Hey, Sonny, you know about this thing, Snowflake. Could you tell us about it?" Um, and other people would say, "Oh, Sonny knows about this. Go call him. He'll demo it for you. He'll show you these things." Um, so I think that kind of arose of like, "Hey, Sonny knows this stuff." That started it. And then from my side, I was like, who are all the other people out there? There's got to be other people out there in the Charlotte and Raleigh community. So I started putting this piece together, and got so much support from Snowflake to say, "Hey, yes, we'll help you put all this together. We'll get the site for you. We'll promote it for you." So that's kind of how I got started with it.
Wow. So, what advice would you give to an aspiring data superhero?
I think just to think about a little bit of the time commitment. Get a partner, because to do this, to do, maybe if you're going to do a community like what I'm doing, or to do a user group, it does take integration with the community. You probably need somebody to help you out, because it's a good bit of work, but it's really rewarding. I would also say there are so many people out there that are really hungry for sharing what they know and learning what you know. There is so much appetite out there to both give and receive. So I wouldn't worry about how successful, how much attendance you're going to get. The community is out there, and they're just really hungry for this information. So that would be my bit of advice for anybody.
Yeah, so, who do you follow in the community for your inspiration these days?
In the Snowflake community, folks I work with a good bit. Randy Pitcher, I talk to him a good bit. Um, in in the uh, in the data community at large, people I follow, I look to and read their information. Um, what's his name? Andrew Nye, and I never know of how he pronounces his last name. NG, right? But I pronounce it Nye. But Ning Nye, and he just has some great information on artificial intelligence and that sort of thing. Hillary Mason, I like to follow her just in the data world. In the Snowflake community, it really is. I hang around with Randy a good bit. Um, the person though that really got me started too was what kind of put this idea in my head. Um, was I think I was at a Snowflake user group summit out in San Francisco. It might have been 2019, the summer of 2019. And Martha, who ran the Colorado group, right? Martha Tucker,
Yeah.
she ran the Colorado group. And she sat next to me there and we talked. And pretty soon I was doing, the next week she was doing a user group in Colorado. And I was on the web watching her user group, and she helped me a good bit too.
Oh, okay, great.
I'm not sure if she's still doing it. She may have moved it over. She may have moved it over to somebody else in Colorado.
Yeah, I think it has been handed off. So what community contribution are you most proud of?
Wow. I don't know how much I've contributed. It's nice to know and to hear, hey, go ask Sonny, or that kind of feels nice. I think we did that group buy webinar, and that the barbecue piece that I did got a lot of good press, and I was really pleased with how that piece turned out. And the work was actually interesting. Actually doing it was quite interesting. So I'd have to say it was that barbecue, mixing barbecue and IoT data, kind of at the opposite ends of the spectrum. That was pretty rewarding.
Yeah, yeah. So what's your all-time favorite Snowflake feature? I always like to hear what people think is so cool.
Yeah, that's a little like asking me, which one is your favorite child, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's also a little like, who's your favorite musician? It depends on how I feel right now. Do I want 70s rock, or do I want, something a little more chill? I think data sharing and the data marketplace are really big deals, so I'm excited to utilize those. I'm hopeful they'll be really impactful here at Ally. One other that I know, and this is just this is my own preference, but if you've ever done cross database joins with other databases,
oh yeah,
there's no point in really doing them, right?
Yeah, certainly not from a performance perspective on all the other systems. Yeah,
that's right. So I mean, that's really a big one.
Yeah, it's funny. That's one of the ones that I latched onto. It's like, wow, it's just database.schema.table, and it performs as though it was in the same system. It's like, it's the cloud.
Yes.
It is in the same system. We're not jumping data centers. We're not jumping servers. We're not trying to pull all this data through some little network connection between two machines. It's now it's a logical construct now.
Yes, that's exactly right. And so that piece is big. And I would say the last thing, and you probably know this already, just the idea of separating compute and storage.
Right.
And the impact of that was, from my perspective, we got so much value out of loading our data warehouse in micro batches throughout the day, right? Which was an unheard of concept.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing what in the middle of the day? So that piece, all of those are just fabulous things. I mean, I guess I could go on. The fact that we don't have DBAs now, or we really just have one instead of having an army of them, we just have one, right?
Yeah.
So those are the biggest things.
Yeah. So obviously, we just had the Data Cloud Summit here recently, and quite a few announcements. What are you looking forward to trying to test out that are the up and coming features here?
Is it Snowpark? There's just so much buzz around here with Snowpark. Kind of advanced analytics is a big deal these days, right? So if we can figure out how we can leverage Snowpark to do some of our advanced analytics, I think we'll be excited to get our hands on that.
Yeah. A lot of people interested in that one. So what's next for you on your data superhero journey? You going to be doing some more meetups, any videos or blog posts or anything in the planning?
Yeah, I've spoken with our with the you folks here at Snowflake about planning our next meeting. We need to get our next user group meeting up and running. The thing I'm also working on is with the barbecue piece that I did. It was a substantial piece of work, and it really needs to be a series. So I'm working on part two of the series. So I need to do a little bit more work on that. But I really want to take that and turn it into a whole series of videos, and then we'll kind of publish those out.
Yeah, where are you posting that?
Well, I don't have a place at the moment.
Okay.
the existing one, the existing one, I think it may be on the group buy. It may be on a link from group buy. I also know it's out on YouTube.
Right, we have it on our YouTube channel, the one that you presented at Group Buy. That one's definitely there. Yeah.
Yeah, and so if we want to continue to link those things together, I figured I would do them at my user group sessions. But if we want to continue to link those on that group buy channel, I'd be happy to put them over there.
Yeah, great. So I know barbecue is a big thing for you outside of Data Cloud and user groups and all of that. But so tell us something else about yourself that might surprise viewers.
Maybe a couple things. Maybe this might even surprise you. I know you're quite involved in the martial arts community as well. So I am just one more belt away from getting my black belt in Taekwondo.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So I'm really excited about that. I was actually scheduled to test for it in June of this year.
Yeah.
COVID hit, the dojo shut down, and just been conservative and hadn't gone back yet. So
we just started teaching the class at the YMCA here in the Woodlands about maybe 2 months ago. And it's down to 1 hour twice a week and only about 5 or 6 people. We've actually got tape on the floor so people line up and stay 6 feet apart and all of that, and made those kinds of adjustments. So yeah. And I just got back in the gym myself recently as well. Yeah. Oh no, I didn't know that. That's great. It's good to have another martial artist in the community here.
Yeah, so my son did it. I started him in Taekwondo, and I just would sit in the dojo and watch. And I said, why am I just sitting here? Why don't I get up and do it with him? So last fall, about this time last fall, he got his black belt, and I was scheduled to get mine in the spring. So
yeah, I recruited many a family member using exactly that logic. I taught a lot of families over the decades that, yeah, if you're going to bring your kid, you might as well join in too and do it together.
Well, the other thing I would add is I would say probably my greatest accomplishment is not within the technology world, right? It's really within the community. It's important to me to give back to the community, whether I'm involved in some technology communities like SIM, like the Data Heroes, but I'm also involved with an environmental group here in Charlotte called the Catawba Lands Conservancy, where we conserve land. As a matter of fact, a shout out goes to my wife, who was the volunteer of the year for 2020.
Nice.
For all the work that she's done. But what I think a big thing for me is I wouldn't be in my role today if it hadn't been for others who kind of unselfishly helped me out and gave me opportunities, whether it was mentoring, taking a chance on, kind of a headstrong person and bringing them into an organization and giving them the tools and patience to grow them. So if I can do that for some other folks, that's important to me.
Great. That's awesome. I'm a big environmental fan too. Been a member of the Nature Conservancy for a couple of decades as well. My degree is actually in environmental science.
Oh, wow. I did not. Now
That's what
that's
I
a,
would. That's something. Yeah, a lot of people don't. Nobody looks through your profile that far anymore. They just assume that I majored in computer science or something like that. It's like, yeah, no, I actually my degree was in environmental science.
and you spent a good bit of time in Colorado. Were you in
Yeah,
Colorado?
I lived in Colorado for 27 years. I actually went to school at the University of Denver,
Okay,
um,
awesome.
and that's where I got my degree.
That's very cool. Yeah, I didn't know that about
Also,
you.
where I learned Taekwondo as well. I trained
Oh,
Taekwondo at the University of Denver.
very cool. I didn't start my Taekwondo till I was almost 50, right? So, uh, so you're a bit ahead of me, but this is that's a big milestone for me to getting my black belt.
Yeah, I know that's a great accomplishment. It's an effort no matter what age you are trying to do it, to really have the focus and the discipline and follow through on that. So Sonny, just to kind of wrap it up here, how can people follow you? You have Twitter, YouTube. What's the best way to
You
see
know,
what you're up to?
you can find me on YouTube. You can find most of my information on LinkedIn, right? Because if I'm posting anything, I'm usually doing it in a business context on LinkedIn. You can find me on YouTube, and of course, I'm part of the Snowflake community, and you'll see me on the Data Hero channels that Snowflake has out there. And then, of course, we have the Charlotte Users Group, and with everything going on with COVID, it's all virtual now, right? So anyone can join from anywhere. On the plus side of this, that's that being virtual is we can get speakers, we can get people that have really great knowledge from across the country to come and sit and share with us here in Charlotte what they may be doing in Seattle or Colorado or New York. So I'm excited about doing these virtual user conferences.
Yeah, that is one of the advantages.
So you can find all that on the Snowflake community, and you can come and join our conference. And if you're interested and want to, if you have a topic and you want to speak, or if you want to hear about a topic, you want to learn more about it, we're really all ears. We want to listen, figure out what the community needs, and then figure out how to get that content to them.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Sonny, pretty much our time's up here for the interview. Thank you so much for being with us today and sharing all of your experience and what your passions are all about. Hopefully, you and I can actually see each other in real life again sometime in the near future.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's nice to get to learn a little bit more about you, Kent, and thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome. And thanks everyone for joining Sonny and I today in the Snowflake Data Dojo. If you enjoyed the interview, please like it and share it with your friends. This is Kent Graziano, the Data Warrior, signing off for now. See you on the next episode of Data Superheroes Origins.